Welcome back to another episode of Paperback Ponderings. We've got another episode in our Goodreads Choice Award winners mini-series. This has become a bit of a tradition for the podcast now. We love to look back at our years and see what the people chose as the top 5 books in our preferred genres: young adult fantasy and sci-fi, romantasy, and fantasy. This episode is the top 5 fantasy nominees in the Goodreads Reader's Choice Awards series. Holy moly, what
bit of a tongue twister.
Huge tongue twister. I'm very impressed that I got through all that. But we will be starting off with the 5th highest voted nominee in the fantasy category and work our way up to the winner. Don't spoil it for yourself. Don't go to Goodreads and check out what the winner is. Stick around with us and we'll tell you. As always, these episodes are spoiler free. We do our best to keep it on the DL in terms of spoilers. We're going to give you our opinions if we did read the book or what we've heard of the, and just enough of the book to either convince you to read it or not. That is up to you. Sorry in advance for the TBR expansion. And Kyla's going to take us away with the 5th highest voted book in the fantasy series.
All right. So this one surprises me. I'll start off by saying that.
Yeah.
And I did read it. But in 5th place for fantasy, we have The Sirens by Amelia Hart. So this one has a 3.72 on Goodreads out of 100. No. Out of 49,000 ratings. I don't know where I was going with that. But and if you haven't heard of this one, Amelia Hart, too, is the author of Wayward, which you may have heard of. But if you have not heard of The Sirens, this one is a dual timeline story about sisters and womanhood. So in 2019, it follows Lucy, who wakes up in her ex-lover's room in the middle of the night with her hands around his neck. And horrified, she flees to her sister's house on the coast of New South Wales, hoping that her sister can explain the vivid dreams that preceded the attack. But her sister is missing when she gets there. And as Lucy waits for her return, she starts to unearth strange rumors about Jess's town. Tales of numerous missing men spread over decades, a baby abandoned in a sea-swept cave, and whispers of women's voices on the waves. All the while, her dreams start to feel closer than ever. And in the second timeline, we follow Mary and Eliza in 1800, who are torn from their loving home in Ireland and forced onto a convict ship headed for Australia. As the boat takes them farther and farther away from everything they know, they begin to notice unexplainable changes in their bodies. Can you guess what those changes are? Perhaps from the title of the book.
Oh yeah, true. I was like, a mermaid.
So this one I did read an arc of when it was coming out. I'm surprised, first of all, that it's in this category because I would classify this as historical fiction, magic realism. Like, I don't know if I would put it in fantasy. Like, it takes place in Ireland and Australia.
Yeah.
I am also surprised that this got number 5 in fantasy, given that. But also, I feel like I haven't heard very much about it throughout the year. Like, I read it, kind of forgot about it, and then randomly
and then it won 5th place.
Yeah, like, okay. I did like it. It was good, but it's more of like, you know, when I started reading it, I was a little worried that the title gave it away, right? Because the description talks about all this mysterious stuff, but then the title is what it is, and you're like, well, that's the mystery, isn't it? And upon finishing it, I can look back and say, like, that's not really what it's about, though. It's not about, like, what? It's about how the women got to this point, like how they were wronged in their lives and silenced and not listened to by the people in their communities that should have listened to them. And it's really like a female empowerment type story.
I do want to note as well that it only got 2,000 more votes than the 6th place winner. And it's actually like 15,000 votes away from the 4th place winner. So
what was the 6th place?
The Strength of the Few by James Islington.
Okay, yeah, that one I thought might make it farther in the awards, The Strength of the Few, but I think because it literally came out like the week that the awards were posted, not enough people had read it yet.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's also a second book in a series, so like people need to read the first book if they, like,
yeah,
if you're interested in this story and you haven't started it, you're gonna start with the first book naturally.
Yeah, so I know maybe if The Strength of the Few had come out like a month earlier, it would have surpassed the Sirens, but either way, I was surprised, but it's still a good book. So if you're into kind of generational stories of sisterhood and womanhood and the little magic sprinkled in, you'll definitely like this one. Are you at all interested in reading it, Sarah?
Not really.
Fair enough.
To be completely honest, I am and I'm not. It's just not the priority for me.
Yeah.
But I also, like, if I was craving a magical realism, historical fiction, water, Ireland, Australia vibe, yeah, I'd be all over it.
This would be the book for you.
That's incredibly niche. I don't know. Maybe if I was going on a cruise or something,
And it's not really cruise vibes. Not that kind of water. Not that kind of boat.
Noted and stored away for later. Maybe I won't read it then. I do want to say though, like, I don't know. There's just so many good books. There's so many good books. It's so hard. Next on our list, number 4 is Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. If you have heard of Stephanie Garber, if that is ringing some bells for you, but you can't quite place them, Stephanie is the author of the Caraval and Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogies. And this is her adult debut, so it's been highly anticipated. It is currently sitting at a 3.90 out of 41,000 ratings. And it is a contemporary fantasy or a magic realism type story, honestly, like could be both. And it starts with a class in an old movie theater in Los Angeles. The class is called Folklore 517, Local Legends and Urban Myths, taught by a woman called the Professor. Most students believe the professor's stories are just fiction, but Holland St. James has always been convinced that magic is real. When she tracks down a local legend named the Watchman, who can supposedly tell you when you'll die, the world finally begins to make sense. Except that the Watchman tells her she will die at midnight tomorrow unless she finds an ancient object called the alchemical heart. So, with the clock ticking, Holland is pulled deeper into this magical world in the heart of Los Angeles and into the path of a magnetic stranger. Of course, there's a love interest, and he is magnetic.
I love a magnetic stranger.
Right? Everything about him feels like a bad idea. And you know what? If I was told I was dying tomorrow and then I came in contact with a questionable figure who was magnetic, I would say, you know what? Fuck it. Sure.
Fuck it. Yeah. Let's have some magnetism.
Right?
My final days.
Exactly. As they chase clues and stories that take them closer to the alchemical heart, Holland realizes everyone in this intoxicating new world is lying to her, even the magnetic stranger. What?
Mr. Magnet.
Right? And if she can't figure out whom to trust, not even the alchemical heart will save her. So, a curious story. Very
Stakes
fun. Another book that, like, dancing along the line of magical realism.
Yeah. This one, I know it takes place Los Angeles. I don't know if you said that, but yeah, contemporary fantasy magic realism kind of vibes. This one really appeals to me.
Well, you love Stephanie Garber, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I already love her. I love her writing. I just know that it's going to be atmospheric, but also just the kind of mysterious atmosphere of this local myths and legends, class, and the folklore and the old Hollywood aesthetic of the story very much appeals to me as well. So I have really high hopes for this one. I hope I'm not let down by it. I have heard from some people that some plot points kind of feel like a bit of a mashup of Caraval and Once Upon a Broken Heart.
Interesting.
In a way that's obviously different from like the circus element of Caraval and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I have high hopes. I hope to read this book in the next like month or two.
Okay. I have yet to stumble down the path of Stephanie Garber, and it's for no specific or particular reason, to be completely honest. I just have not made it into her world, but maybe, I don't know, this hasn't convinced me really enough to like go full tilt into this book. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, haven't read this one yet, so I can't really make an informed recommendation, but I want you to start with Once Upon a Broken Heart. You already know that.
Yes, I do know this, and I have it. I have the physical copy of it. Again, there's just too many good books, not enough time, and someone needs to do my job for me, so so I can relax and read.
Yes.
Is my takeaway from this year, 2025. What is next in our top 5 fantasy nominees?
Number 3 is Wind and Truth by Mr. Brando Sando himself, Brandon Sanderson. This one is the 5th book in the Stormlight archive and the climax of the first arc of the series. I guess there's going to be a second arc. Why not? But Wind and Truth currently has a 4.37 out of 130,000 ratings. And the first book, The Way of Kings, is set in a world of stone and storms where tempests of incredible power sweep across the rocky terrain so frequently that they have shaped the ecology and civilization alike. So animals hide in shells, trees pull in their branches, grass retracts into the soilless ground, and cities are only built where the topography offers shelter from these storms. It has been centuries since the fall of the 10 consecrated orders known as the Knights Radiant, but their shard blades and their shard plate remain. So these are mystical swords and suits of armor that transform ordinary men into near invincible warriors. Men trade kingdoms for these shard blades. Wars were fought for them and won by them. And one such war currently rages on a ruined landscape called the Shattered Plains. There, Kaladin, who traded his medical apprenticeship for a spear to protect his little brother, has been reduced to slavery. In a war that makes no sense, he struggles to save his men and to fathom the leaders who consider them expendable. We also follow Bright Lord Dalinar Kholin, who commands one of the other armies, and like his brother, the late king, he is fascinated by an ancient text called The Way of Kings. Troubled by overpowering visions of ancient times and the Knights Radiant, he has begun to doubt his own sanity. And then lastly, across the ocean, we follow a young woman named Shallan, or Shallan.
Shallan.
Who seeks to train under an eminent scholar and notorious heretic who also happens to be Dalinar's niece. And though she genuinely loves learning, her motives are less than pure. And as she plans a daring theft, her research hints at secrets of the Knights Radiant and the true cause of the war.
Okay, I'm actually intrigued by this one.
It does sound interesting.
So a lot of words you said there that I didn't know what they meant or like what the context is, but I am intrigued by the the world that exists here.
Yes, the world of storms and the shard blades that are being fought over definitely is intriguing. This sounds like a pretty epic saga. These books, so that was The Way of Kings, the 5th book that came out in 2025, Wind and Truth, was the 5th book, but I think I think all 5 books in this series are over 1,000 pages, so you are getting into a journey.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows how to tell a tale, doesn't he? That's insane.
He does. Yes. And I do know Brandon Sanderson has a bit of a cult following as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a lot of loyal readers. So
I feel like he's the SJM of the male fantasy fandom.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Not to put like genders and labels and stuff, but
yes.
but yeah, I'm intrigued by this, but also like I don't want to read that many books to like get into the Stormlight archive. So
Yes.
I don't know.
Intriguing, but chances of me reading it are pretty slim.
Yeah, again, grand scheme, not the priority, but really interesting story, sounds like.
What was number 2?
Okay, so coming in runner up for winner of the best fantasy or Goodreads Choice, I wouldn't say best, but Goodreads Choice fantasy is Katabasis by R.F. Kuang. It is currently sitting at a 3.8 out of 109,000 ratings. Just came out recently, like September, I think, or maybe October, but
August.
Oh, well, there we go.
But yes,
August.
recently.
End of the year, nonetheless. And if R.F. Kuang sounds familiar, they're the famous author of the Poppy War trilogy and Babel and Yellowface, actually, which I read, I believe, this year, if not the year before, which was very good. I love the writing style. So if you haven't heard of this book, it is a dark academia standalone, not a huge commitment, and it follows 2 ambitious Cambridge grad students, Alice Law and Peter Murdoch, who are on the brink of academic success when their revered mentor, Professor Grimes, tragically dies in a magical accident. Oopsie daisy. Whoops, there he is. Gone. With their futures hanging on by a thread, they make a desperate choice to descend into hell itself to retrieve his soul and his much coveted recommendation letters. Lol. Love that. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I also could just like see an academic be this fucking like obsessed with their work that they would
definitely
journey to hell to get what they need. So Alice and Peter's trek through the underworld isn't a traditional fantasy. It's a philosophical, bureaucratic nightmare. In each court, they navigate academic-themed torments, endless debates on the nature of good, obsessive peer reviews, and punishments that mirror the ivory tower's cruelties. Hell morphs into an infernal campus where punishment is pure critique and damnation takes the form of scholarly humiliation. Very interesting, like, basis of a story.
Mm-hmm.
The emotional tension between main characters, Peter and Alice, once the closest of friends and rivals, becomes as tumultuous as their physical journey. Their shared path through suffering dredges up old wounds and academic betrayals that may be harder to overcome than any infernal dungeon of hell. So we've got some forced proximity based in like academic rivalry, which is kind of fun. Who knows if there's romance? I imagine there's some sort of begrudging attraction that's happening here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very interesting story. I'm intrigued because I love a standalone, and I occasionally crave a dark academia. If anyone could write a story like this far-fetched, it would be R.F. Kuang.
Yes, it definitely would be her. I've heard that she goes way too far into like academic tangents about things that it takes away from the story and the pacing of the story.
Yeah.
And I've heard that that's like a major critique about it.
Yeah.
Personally, not probably going to read it. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe someday. But I've had some iffy experiences with R.F. Kuang, and I just don't know if I'm interested.
Yeah, I do get the sense that like this would cater towards people who have experience in like high academic settings. Like it is like almost satirical for those folks. Anyone else wouldn't appreciate the academic, like, tangents that come out, the like philosophical, deeper, meaningful like prose and thought and debate that will inevitably probably happen in this story. Like I feel like only certain kinds of people with certain kinds of backgrounds would really like appreciate this. But I do find it fascinating that like there's like a book that embodies this, because I feel like academia in general is quite like a terrible environment to be in.
Definitely, yeah.
And so I imagine like this is like a relief for those people.
Yes, it's probably very relatable for a lot of those people, and just a way to feel seen in their struggles and torment. I did see a post that was like, here is a reading list of all the books you want to read before Katabasis in order to understand the references that she's making to things.
Interesting.
So I do think like that would probably be like, if you wanted to commit to reading all the prior texts, then that probably would be a cool experience to then read Katabasis. I just don't know if I want to.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think, again, like certain kind of person. But again, I do think if someone could do something like this, it would be her. So
yeah,
kudos to her.
Yeah.
And again, that's Katabasis, runner up to readers' favorite fantasy nominee, Kyla. The big question: who's the winner?
The winner of the fantasy category is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab.
Not surprising.
Not surprising?
Yeah, not to me anyways.
Oh, okay. I'm a little surprised. I think I'm not surprised that it's on the list of the top 5, but I'm a little surprised that it got number 1.
Okay.
But Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil is currently sitting at a 3.96 out of 146,000 ratings. It is tagged as toxic lesbian vampires, and the story follows 3 women from 3 different times who become vampires as they learn to live in their new identity, make mistakes, grapple with hunger, immortality, morals, and freedom. First, we have Maria from the 1500s in Spain, whose beauty is only outmatched by her desire for escape. But she knows she can only ever be a prize or a pawn in the games of men. So when an alluring stranger, there's another alluring stranger, offers her an alternate path, she makes a desperate choice and vows to have no regrets. In the 1800s in London, we meet Charlotte, who lives an idyllic but cloistered life on her family's estate, until a moment of forbidden intimacy sees her shipped off to London, where she receives an invitation from a beautiful widow, but the price of freedom is higher than she could have imagined. And lastly, we have Alice, who lives in Boston in 2019. She moved halfway across the world for a fresh start in college and to become someone new, but after an out-of-character one-night stand leaves her questioning her past, her present, and her future, she throws herself into the hunt for answers and revenge. So, what I've heard about this is that it's kind of a meandery book. It's very much following these women through a large period of time and their kind of travels and adventures in life in general. So it's not plotless, but it's more of a character book for sure. So something to note going in.
I would tend to agree. I did listen to like half of this book on audiobook.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I got an arc.
Oh, okay. Wow,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But it was just like a portion of the audiobook. It wasn't like the whole audiobook, unfortunately. But it was intriguing. I will say that. I did enjoy the foundation of the characters themselves, but I didn't finish it. I never got to finish it. It does kind of remind me of, or it has elements to me of Our Infinite Fates, but make it like lesbian vampires instead.
Okay.
Just like how you get like multiple storylines, different time periods, and you know they interconnect in some way, but you're like, how? So yeah, I don't know. I'm not surprised necessarily that this is the winner. I also think like fantasy in general has such like smaller amount of ratings than romantasy. It's kind of wild, like the difference in just like the number of ratings. The fact that Onyx Storm had 1.6 million and this has 146,000.
Yeah, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Just goes to show how much romantasy is popping off right now.
Yeah. It kind of makes sense why a lot of publishing houses are placing their bets on the romantasy like stories and only really pumping out romantasy at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I do want to read this one. I do have a copy of it that I got from seeing her on tour, which was really cool. And it was super cool hearing her talk about the book and her process going into the book. Like just hearing her speak. She's such a great speaker. And it made me really excited to read it. But I'm waiting for the mood to strike me.
Yeah, it is like a mood book. I feel like you'd have to like want to read it, and I almost feel like we missed the window. Like it seems like a fall book.
I think it is a fall book for sure, and I also wish that I could have like ridden the hype of it being a new release, but it was released in June, which is weird to me. Like it's a vampire book. It should have been released in fall.
Duh.
Yeah. But alas, one day.
We got our winner. Goodreads Choice Award winner, fantasy edition.
Yeah, I've heard only good things actually about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, check it out. Check it out. Thank you so much for joining us to go through the top 5 nominees for Goodreads Reader's Choice Awards fantasy category. We had so much fun chitty chatting through these books. Again, sorry if we added more to the TBR, but if you're still looking for more and you started here, we do have 2 other mini episodes in this series. Head on over to Romantasy Edition and Young Adult Fantasy Edition if either of those genres tickle your fancy. Otherwise, reach out to us at paperback.ponderings on TikTok and Instagram and Paperback Ponderings Podcast on YouTube if you want to chat more about these books or other books.